Okay, that part where he said, I'm saying. Okay. Hello and welcome back to Actually Let's Talk About It with me, your host Lily, and today, y'all, I will be reacting to DPR IAN, Don't Go Insane, the official teaser, and DPR IAN's Don't Go Insane, the official music video. Y'all. It is currently Sunday, October 8th. I don't know when this video will go on the YouTube channel, but it will go up. Eventually. I promise you that. Okay? Because I think my last video was 2 days ago on the 6th for the Catching Up with DPR IAN part 3, where I reacted to like the Mito movie, Peanut Butter and Tears, and So I Danced. And y'all, you left so many amazing comments. Like, it was so beautiful. And I'm like, I just want to shout out a few people. Okay? So there was the S. Dionis. That's the ad that I see here. And I love how they like educated me further. I did not know that DPR IAN was in a K-pop group called C Clown. What? And how did I not know this? Oh my goodness. Like, and that makes sense why he can dance so well, because he's been a trainee at a K-pop company, of course. And then also, like, I didn't know that he's like but yeah, like, he's a director, producer, you know, he be doing it all. Okay? Like they said in their comment, the whole package. Okay? And then they did tell me to watch the trailer first before I reacted to Don't Go Insane. So thank y'all. Thank you so much. Because I'm like, I do need to watch it. And then they also did recommend me watching the breakdown videos that he did for the Mito movie with, it's spelled JREKML. That's the channel name. And so I am going to be reacting to those as well, those videos, because I want to see like his thought process for approaching the Mito movie. And then also shout out to Cloud9370 when they said here, Mr. Sanity is real. I thought he was not real. Okay? I thought he was a fun character, but he is not that. He represents his manic highs. Okay, so that makes so much sense why he just like I don't even really care about all this here, because I'm gonna do what I want. Okay, so I'm like, yeah, that is how you would be if you were at a manic high. It's like, I don't even care about none of the decisions I make, because I'm gonna live with no regrets. And then the reality sets in after you done made the decisions you made. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. And then it makes sense. The manic highs are Mr. Insanity, and then the manic lows are Mito. That makes so much more sense. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, the impulsive decisions. Okay, oh my goodness, that makes so much more sense. And then also big shout out to Mazzy Cage. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. I loved their comment as well. Like, I'm like, good goodness, like, have me hyped up, saying I could be a personal therapist. I'm like, I should look into that, because I should. Okay, and then also shout out to Ari_I6380. Okay, because I see your comments as well. Love to see them. And then also a shout out to Carissa Bradford 4345. I love her comment she made as like what she was saying as a mom. And I'm like, I love how she said that she appreciated like how I talked about discussing your mental health with your parents. And I'm like, I love that, because it's so important, because sometimes our parents or our grandparents, they didn't have the luxury of these kind of conversations. And that is why for sometimes our parents, it's kind of hard to start the conversation, because during the times where our grandparents and our great-grandparents, they just didn't have the time, unfortunately, to process certain things around them and to really prioritize their mental health over everything else. But luckily we do now. And so it could be kind of hard when But if you think about it that way, because I had to think about it, especially as like an African American woman, my great grandparents, they didn't have time to think about these things. They just didn't, unfortunately. Even my grandparents, they just didn't. So we are approaching conversations now as young people who may be a part of Gen Z or millennials. You have to remember that sometimes it's hard for your parents to understand because the parents who raised them didn't have the luxury of thinking about their mental health. You know, that's the unfortunate part. And I'm like, but the good part about it is that now it's been talked about and it's being so normalized now that now you can unpack everything and talk about it together. So I really love that. So I really appreciated Carissa's comment. Like, I really did appreciate that comment. So I'm like, I love that. Because I thought I was like oversharing a little bit too much towards the end of that video. But I'm like, I'm glad that somebody let me know I wasn't doing too much. And y'all, I'm going to try not to ramble a little bit. I'm going to try this video. But I can't promise anything. Okay, I can't promise anything at all. But y'all, we're going to get straight into the teaser and then the music video reaction in just a little bit. But before we do that, I'm just going to give our patrons on Patreon their lovely shout out. So the first patron shout out does go out to Genoviva. The second patron shout out does go out to Avery. The third patron shout out does go out to Clover Me. The fourth patron shout out does go out to Milky. The fifth patron shout out does go out to Sammy. And then the sixth and final patron shout out does go out to Leo. I want to thank you all so much for your support on the Patreon. It really does mean the world to me. And also, y'all, thank y'all for who are subscribing on the channel. Because we are at over 600 subscribers. I was like, whoa, look at that. Look at that. And so like now the next goal is 700 subscribers. So it's cool. All right. So I'm like, thank y'all for rocking with me a little bit. And on my ramblings, because I tend to do that on every video. Goodness, I don't know why. I'm sorry. But like, yo, I just like to analyze things. And that's just why I call it an analysis. Because I really do the most sometimes. But let's get straight into the teaser for Dear Insanity here and see what it's going to give.
And there it was, the door. Finally. Shall we? Now all we had to do was go through it. However, it was locked.
Stop.
It's never locked. Suddenly, the strangest pair appeared out of nowhere.
Who are these two?
The Green asked. The key in Emerald City, of course, they said. To which I asked, so which way? They seemed rather perplexed, pointing in all different directions. What choice did we have? We needed to get through the door. Before we left, they told us to disguise ourselves, for he was expecting us. Before I could ask who, we started fighting. Thank you, I said, as we quietly made our way to the van. I hope they let us borrow this, I told the Green. To which the Green replied, I just hope that someone would love me.
Okay, that's okay, like, wow. Okay, so now I'm not gonna say I'm perplexed, but I am. Because so the So I Danced events, is this before the So I Danced events? Because he doesn't have the wig on in this one, in the teaser. And then he does in So I Danced. So this has to take place between, it has to take place between the two videos. So it has to take place between Peanut Butter and Tears and So I Danced. So Don't Go Insane is between the two, which would make sense. That would actually make a lot of sense. So Mr. Insanity is trying to get in to the control room, kind of. That's where the door is leading, basically, to the control room. So he can really act up. And it is locked. And the only way to get it is to go into Emerald City, which, of course, we saw in the So I Dance music video. And then the two pink characters. I want to see what the color pink represents. Maybe that'll tell a clue. Because what is, like, Mr. Green and then the two pinks? Yeah, but I don't know. Because, like, pink is associated with, like, calmness. But then the two pinks started fighting. Okay. Like, let's see what green represents. So I'm just trying to deduce. Peace and tranquility, hope, and optimism. Okay, so Mr. Green represents Mr. Insanity's hope of being able to take control. Okay, that makes a whole heck of a lot of sense. And I also think that probably the reason why the two pinks started fighting was because they're supposed to represent calm, but Mr. Insanity's presence doesn't bring calmness because it's a manic high. And so that's why they couldn't tell him too much, just that the key was in Emerald City. And they started fighting between each other because of Mr. Insanity's presence. That is why the pinks were acting out of character. Okay, but Mr. Green can stay near Mr. Insanity and not be influenced by his essence because he is just hope and optimism. That's what the color green represents. And Mr. Insanity is hoping to take control and optimistic about him being able to. Oh, I think I get it. Okay, I think I get it. A little bit. But Mito ain't gonna let that happen, so I don't even know why we would try. We get destined to lose. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, like, I don't think Mito definitely not gonna let that happen. But this is taking place before So I Danced. So this is how, basically, we're probably gonna learn how he prepared for the heist in Emerald City that we saw in So I Danced. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I want to see how he prepared for this.
I spent my night on melting snow, just turning my sorrows into pure gold. And I laugh inside, cause you won't know I was here from the moment the lights showed. Oh, bless my heart.
Hold on, I need to look at the credits. Hold on. Y'all, I do a little bit too much, but okay. Written and performed by DPR IAN. And I heard that. Produced by DPR IAN and DPR Cream. Wow. Okay, starring DPR IAN and the Green. Okay, let's go. And then, wow. Like, the way his name is here. And also shout out to DPR Visuals. Okay, let's go.
Don't fall apart when I come back from the grave. Forget my charms, I'll never be the same. We've came so far, only to drift away. Oh, bless my heart when the wolves take me away. Don't fall apart when I come back from the grave. Forget my charms, I'll never be the same. We've came so far, only to go inside.
The choreography here. Okay, that part where he said, I'm saying. Okay.
When the nightmare goes, I've been feeling distant, just way out of control. But I laugh inside, just so you can burn the dark when it's time for me. So just stay. You just wanna try me out.
Mm, mm, okay, like, yeah, yeah. I feel like, there's so much to unpack here. Because, yeah, there's just so much to unpack here. I'm gonna try to make it brief. A little bit. But, like, the story, like, basically the way that he is portraying Mr. Insanity as well. It's not like Mr. Insanity is a villain, because that's just not true. A manic high can't be a villain, just like a manic low can't be a villain, because they're just two opposite ends of a spectrum that we're all capable of having, whether we want to admit it or not. And yeah, like they're just two opposite ends. Like Mito is on one end, Mr. Insanity is on the other. And they're just represent two, sometimes they can represent two extremes of two separate emotions. But it's the way that, like when I looked up the meaning of the color and the representation of the color pink, how it represents like love, kindness, and femininity. That's what pink represents. But maybe this is magenta. Maybe I need to look. Okay, even though I know that magenta is a variation of pink, it's a variant of pink. But maybe it's magenta, okay? Because it does say that magenta is the color of universal harmony and emotional balance. But when you're in a manic high state, you might not necessarily be emotionally imbalanced. You're literally going off of impulses. So that makes sense why in this town of these magenta people, or peoples, because there's more than one, peoples, these magenta peoples that Mr. Insanity was in, they wanted to get rid of him because they represent balance and harmony. And Mr. Insanity, because he represents a manic high, it's not balanced. And they can't make harmony with him. So that's why they wanted him out. So that's why you see them holding up their pitchforks and their rakes against him and trying to burn him at the stake, because he doesn't represent harmony. He's not balanced in his current state. And then, of course, the green, Mr. Green, which represents which represents hope, of course he would save him, because it's literally what he represents. So that makes so much sense. Green is hope, harmony, optimism, and peace and tranquility. So, of course, the green would definitely be the hope here for Mr. Insanity. He's like his only hope, because he was the only one that was not magenta colored. So that makes sense how he was able to save him and not be influenced by him, and able to assist him, because Mr. Green is Mr. Insanity's hope. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And then I was thinking about as well, like how Mr. Insanity, he's like how his eyes were shifting from, they were like an orangish color, and then it shifted to one was red and one was green. And I'm like, And I'm like, do we have to look up what the color red means? Possibly. Okay, so red. It can mean danger, or it could be courage. Okay. So red could be danger or courage. And then, so they were red and green, his eyes, towards the end. So it's dangerous hope or dangerous optimism. Okay. That can make sense. I think that can make sense for Mr. Insanity, especially because he represents a manic high. Like dangerous optimism. Okay, or overly courageous optimism. Yeah, since he is impulsive. That makes sense. That can make sense. But the choreography here as well, you have to get into that, because it was quite phenomenal. Okay, Ian was showing out. He was showing out. And I'm happy for him on that. But also, like, the way that he really gave us a background to Mr. Insanity. So where now I definitely know, like everyone in the comments was saying, he is not a character. He's very much real. And y'all, I appreciate y'all for making sure I was correct there. But it was also deep to know how this is all in different stages in the mind. And like I said in my other reaction, how powerful our minds are and how persistent our mind can be in the things it wants to shield us from. Because it's really interesting how Mito exists in his own state and Mr. Insanity exists in his own state as well. But when they converge together, you really see how one is very different from the other. Even in So I Dance, you saw how much power Mito has in terms of, like, someone said in the comments, hold on, let me see who said it. Cloud9370. They said that Mito is the protector of the mind. And that makes sense why he has so much power. Like when him and Mr. Insanity were facing off, it was not even a challenge, really, between the two. It was obvious that Mito was the strongest here. And this was his territory. And I'm like, yeah. Like, it was very obvious that that was the kind of situation. Even though Mr. Insanity is the manic high, and he's the impulsive thought, like, he represents, like, impulsive things and urges and thoughts, he still doesn't have the amount of power that Mito does. And I feel like that is very, very interesting in how Ian just draws that line to where you know who is the most powerful out of the two personalities, and it's definitely Mito. Every time. And I'm like, well, dang. And I'm just like, it's something else how it's translated on the screen and seeing it, but just knowing that the Don't Go Insane storyline is before the So I Dance storyline. And that really puts it all together. And y'all, it literally leads to an album. And I did not know that he was releasing an album. And I'm just like, what? It is called Dear Insanity. And I'm like, I gotta get into this man's music. Albums, okay? The albums. I need to get into them because I still have not heard not one album yet. And I have to get into them. So I'm gonna start with Mood Swings in this order and then work my way up from there. So I feel like this is going to be interesting to really get into the lyrics because I'm really going to be analyzing the lyrics specifically. And I do know that he has visuals for Dear Insanity album, so I'll also be getting into those after I listen to the album. I want to think of my own conclusions and theories as well, and then see if I'm correct, if the visuals show that that is correct. But yeah, like y'all, that I have rambled, and I do apologize because this video is not short. Goodness, oh my goodness, the music video is literally 3 minutes and 34 seconds, and I was out here analyzing colors in real time, but I did paint a pretty solid picture, I think. So it was not for naught. And then also, lastly, I do want to show not just it shows the intricacies of the mind, but it also shows how, yeah, it does show different intricacies of the mind and how multifaceted our brain is. And goodness, does Ian represent that? Like, he represents like the intricacies of the mind, like the way that his genius is in terms of explaining things that he goes through and manic highs and manic lows and everything of the like, the way that he translates it into his artistry. It's literally amazing. But what I want to pinpoint as well, lastly, try not to make it too long, was the fact that in the song, Mr. Insanity was saying that he was sane. And I'm like, and I had to I had to look up what sane really means. And I was like, the first one is basically of a sound mind, not mad or mentally ill. I don't like that definition of it. The other version of sane, the other definition, according to Oxford Languages, the dictionary, is reasonable or sensible. And I'm like, okay, Okay. And then we will look up insane. It says in a state of mind which prevents normal perception, behavior, or social interaction. Seriously mentally ill. Or shocking or outrageous. And I'm like, okay, so in order to be insane, you have to be considered seriously mentally ill by one definition. Or you could just be someone who is shocking, or do something shocking, or do something outrageous, or be outrageous. And you would be considered insane by the definition of it. And I'm like, interesting. I'm like, interesting. So, like, it's really showing how words really do only have the power that you give them. Because sane just means you're reasonable. But Mr. Insanity's behavior is reasonable to him because it's normal for him. And I'm like, and I think that is showing something. How a personality like Mr. Insanity, his behavior is not insane to him. It's not outrageous. You know, it's not out there. It's reasonable, sensible. You know, it sounds right. It looks right to him. And from what I'm seeing, his behavior is not too, because this is all happening in the mind. Realistically, this the lore, this is all happening in the mind. His behavior is not what I would deem as insane. Well, it's a little shocking, but not like it's a little outrageous, but not completely. And I'm just like, yeah, so it's kind of borderline the line of insanity and sanity. Mr. Insanity, he's right there on the line, and sometimes he crosses over to the sane side, sometimes he crosses over to the insane side. And I think that's interesting how Ian was making sure you see that he's kind of in the middle. Even though he does represent a manic high, it's still kind of in the middle. And I'm like, that's deep. That's deep. Okay? This is deep. Like, I'm probably going to have more conclusions later on, but DPR IAN, he's really genius. Like, I can't say that enough. He's really, really something else. And the way that he tackles these topics and these that are not the easiest to tackle with so much finesse and grace, and makes you really think critically and really urges you as well to have empathy, is truly something. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here because I think I've said enough. I think I've said enough. Yeah, this video, it's almost 30 minutes, y'all. Okay, yeah, I've said enough. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. So if you have stayed all the way until the end, I want to thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching this video on YouTube and you're a subscriber on the channel, thank you so much for being a subscriber. And if you are watching this on YouTube and you have yet to subscribe to the channel, but you would like to support the channel, do not forget to subscribe. And also, if you're watching this on Patreon, thank you so much for being a patron. Once again, your support is so very much appreciated. And y'all, I will see you on the next DPR IAN reaction, because it will be first for, basically, it'll be in order. So mood swings in this order, then mood swings into order, then Dear Insanity, and then the visuals for Dear Insanity. It'll be in that order. So expect that soon, okay? Expect it soon. If the work week permits, because it's no longer a 9 to 5, it's a later shift. However, I do get the weekends off now. So at least that is wonderful. Happy for this. You know, the world of finance calls your name. Oh goodness. You know, I'm like, you know, it is what it is, y'all. They just announced that your schedule has changed, and I'm just like, I'm gonna just go ahead and roll with it, because California's not cheap. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, but yes, y'all, so that is the schedule. So you will see, hopefully this reaction will be released on YouTube on Tuesday. I am hoping that it will be released on Tuesday. Do not quote me on that, but hopefully you will be watching this on YouTube and see it on Tuesday. Hoping. And then, hopefully, the first album reaction for DPR IAN will be released on Friday. Hopefully on the 13th. Yeah, hopefully. Wow, we got a Friday the 13th in October. Like, ooh, that's good. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, I like that. That's cool. But yeah, y'all. Once again, thank y'all for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.